Alright members, so these are Aechmea rock lobster. These pods are ripe, so when you look at the flower on the plant, you will see these black spines sticking out, and the pods are beneath them. I've shown before collecting these in other videos. So I collected these pods a few days ago, and now they're getting ready to be saved for seed bank, both for my seed bank and getting donated to another seed bank as well. So to get the seeds out of these pods, and clearly they're ripe because they're black, that's how I tell, it's the easiest way. And this time of year is usually when I start harvesting them. The thing about these pods is that more you clean them, the more purple your hands are going to become. So just a warning, you can either wear gloves because that staining stays on for quite some time, or yeah, it's up to you. You just have to have purple fingers for a couple of days if you're doing this particular variety. So this process is very simple. Using a sieve, it's just a matter of squeezing. It's same with any of the seeds which have these pod. It's simply a matter of squeezing the seeds out, and then I just rinse them in a little bit of water, and that just frees up any remaining seeds that might be, and there's always quite a few left behind before I discard the pod, and keep going doing the same process. You can put it straight into the water, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes if the seed is large enough, you can wash them several times in the sieve, and then simply tip the sieve out into a chucks to dry. With Aechmeas, they've got a seed coating that needs to be removed, so the seeds need to be soaked in water, and usually a surfactant like dishwashing liquid, just a couple of drops is enough, and then they just need to be agitated a few times a day. Then the following day they get rinsed, all of the water gets washed off them. They get rinsed under fresh water, and then again surfactant like detergent is added once again. And then from there you soak them for another 24 hours before you drain them. And then they stay on the chucks cloth for anything up to sort of a week or so. And that's how long it takes for them to dry. Rightio, so I've squeezed out all the pods, so they're in this little sieve. So I use this sieve to do the initial wash, and you're just trying to just agitate it gently, and that will remove any debris, pieces of the seed casing itself. Now these particular seeds I've done a few times, so I know they fall straight through the sieve, and so they're going to all end up in the water beneath, and the rubbish is going to remain in, as it does, in the sieve. So I can simply discard the sieve, and I end up with a nice collection of nice fresh seeds in the base. A few little ones from where they were sitting originally, so we'll just rinse those off as well. This is the first stage of rinsing the seed, where they're done in just fresh water, and you've just removed all the debris from the seed casing. So what we've got now is just ore seed in the base of this container. I use containers that I can see in. White dishes are really good, or containers that are paler when you're doing darker seeds, so you can have a good idea what you're looking at. So there's lots and lots of seeds in there, and now we'll just drain some of them away, and for that I use a tea strainer. My grandmother's old tea strainer has come in very useful for seed washing, I've found over the years. So we just need to now rinse these off, and then they're going to go into another cylinder for a little bit of soaking. Now because these seeds are so fine, they're actually going through the tea strainer. So I would normally put a cover over them, but there's so many of them, I'm actually just going to go back through the sieve, and I've just added a paper towel. You can use a coffee machine filter as well, but we're just going to do it with this paper towel at the moment first up. Okay, so just draining the seeds, just the excess water away in the paper towel. What you'll end up with is a ball of seed. Okay, all seeds. A lot of seeds. Alright, so the next step is they need to go into a jar, like I said, with a few drops of dishwashing liquid, And then from there we just give them a shake and then leave them sit for a few days. Okay, there you have it. All the seeds are now in this jar. They'll stay in the jar for the next 2 days. Tomorrow I will empty out half of the water, or as much water as I can without disturbing the seeds too much, and replace it with some fresh water with some detergent in it. And again, give it a good agitation. So just throughout the day, just agitate the seeds a few times. There's a skin around the outside of the seed that we're trying to remove. There's just a coating, and you can't preserve the seeds particularly well if you don't get that coating off. So it's a matter of, it just has to wait and sit. So this is a wet method to removing the seed coating, and I've done this a few times. Once we get through that process, you'll end up with some seeds, which I'll show you how they end up. This is the rock lobster seeds from last year, February of last year. So like I said, around this time of year these plants get done. They're ripe to harvest, and so you'll end up with some seeds. I'll put some out here on here. Nice and clean, easy to disperse, not stuck together. That's what you're looking for when you've washed and dried your seeds. It takes a few weeks for them to get to this stage. They go really hard and they're really easy to remove from these chucks. So that's how to save the seed from some of the Aechmea varieties that you've got growing in your garden. Okay, happy gardening, bye. Okay, so it's been a few days. The seeds have been washed several times. I've emptied the water, cleaned them, shaken them repeatedly for the past 2 days. So now I'm just going to drain off this liquid and we're going to put them into the chucks, and then they're there ready for drying. Okay, final step, paper towels in the bottom of your container, several layers of them because the seeds come out quite wet. 1 layer of chucks is normally enough. Enough of the liquid has been drained away, but still enough that you're able to pour from the vessel straight into your container, hopefully in one go. Sometimes it takes a couple of goes, it's okay. We're going to see how quick I can do this and film at the same time. So while agitating the seeds, really quick. Not too bad, got most of them on. Okay. Next step, most important step, single layer. So if you're able to, spatula or a plant label works perfectly fine in my opinion. You're trying to get just a single fine layer of the seeds so that they dry without any mould. You need to put them into a container that, first of all, you need to label your piece of chucks with the seed, unless you're only doing one type, and we tend to have several types drying at any one stage here. So once you're happy they're reasonably well spread out, then that's the end. They go away somewhere cool, dry, away from direct light. So I like to dry them up high, on top of a bookshelf actually, because that way they don't get knocked down, they get good air circulation, and they're away from any direct light. And they'll dry for the next week, and then from then we'll remove them and package them up, and then there was fresh seeds for seed rank. A lot of steps, takes a few days to process them, but they're vital steps you've got to follow as far as getting the seed casing off your seed. If you don't follow that step and get that casing off, when you do plant the seeds, you'll end up with a lot of mould, and a lot of plants just won't germinate, seeds won't germinate because of that casing. It does need to get removed. Normally these would pass through the gut of an animal, like a bird, in the wild, and so the acid in the stomach would naturally remove that outer casing of the seed and spread them. But because we need to replicate that, that's why we use detergent and strip that seed layer off to dry them. Now that's how we go about saving some seed for the seed bank. Okay, happy gardening. Bye.